You must see the good. The Torah says in Parshas Vayechi, Mem Ches, Ches to Yud, Vaya Yisrael es bnei Yosef, Vayoyme mi'ele, Vayoyme Yosef el Aviv, Bonai heim asher nosan li Elokim bezeh, Vayoyma kachemna elai va'avarchem, Ve'ene Yisrael kovdu mizoiken lo yuchal lirois, Vayagesh oisam elav, Vayishak lehem, Vayichabek lehem. Then Yisrael saw Yosef's sons, and he said, Who are these? And Yosef said to his father, These are my sons, whom Hashem has given me here. He said, Bring them to me, if you please, and I will bless them. Now Yisrael's eyes were heavy with age, he could not see. So he brought them near to him, and he kissed them and hugged them. The Torah tells us that Yaakov Avinu wanted to bless Yosef's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, but when he looked at them, he didn't recognize them. The Medrash in Tanchuma 6 explains the Shechina departed from Yaakov because he saw that the evil men Yeravam and Achav would descend from Ephraim, and the evil king Yehu would descend from Manasseh. When Yaakov saw that the descendants of Ephraim and Manasseh would not be worthy of blessing, he simply became unable to bless them. Rashi 48:8. Harav Moshe Chaim Ephraim of Sudukov, who lived from 1748 to the year 1800, known by the name of his Sefer Degel Machane Ephraim, and grandson of the Holy Baal Shem Tov, quotes Harav Yaakov Yosef of Polonia, who lived from 1710 to 1784, who explains as follows in Sefer Toldos Yaakov Yosef in Parshas Chukas. Our Tzaddikim are described as being Einei Yisrael, the eyes of Yisrael. This is because they have clear Torah vision that is not blurred by sin and confusion. They maintain an elevated and lofty view so they can see the bigger picture and ensure that we avoid the many pitfalls that arise and threaten our survival. They see the dangers lurking in the shadows that can potentially pull us away from the right path, and they save us from the many challenges and pitfalls that we will face throughout our long and dark exile, thus assisting us in transmitting the true Derech HaTorah from one generation to the next. However, this is extremely painful for them, because as we know, Niskatnu Hadoros, the generations continually became weaker, and when the Tzaddikim see the challenges that future generations will face, it is often too much for them to bear. In fact, it is well known that there are many Tzaddikim who suffered so much that they actually died from the pain. This is alluded to in the next pasuk in Bereshis 48:10. Ve'enei Yisrael kovdu mizoik, and the eyes of Yaakov were heavy with age. This refers to the times when our Gedolim become fatigued from the pain of seeing the people sin. Then loy yuchal lirois, they simply can't bear to watch what is happening to us and the level of darkness and confusion that their children will have to deal with, and they become heartbroken over the situation. Chazal say that Yaakov Avinu never sinned even one time in his entire life. He was the ultimate personification of holiness and purity, and therefore he was so broken-hearted when he foresaw how many challenges his children would have and how low they would fall that he simply could not be in the state of mind to bestow blessings. So how did Yaakov Avinu overcome this obstacle? The Degel Machane Ephraim explains that Yaakov was able to retrieve his ability to bless Ephraim and Manasseh, as alluded to in the continuation of the pasuk in Bereshis 48:10, even though it was difficult for Yaakov as a tzaddik to tolerate seeing the bad deeds of future generations. He nevertheless recognized that they need his closeness and blessing more than ever. And so he pulled himself together, strengthened himself to embrace the children of the future. He thought to himself from Yeshayahu 60:21, Va'amech kulam tzaddikim, your people are all tzaddikim. And Eruvin 19a, Afilu poisha Yisrael meleim mitzvahs kerimoin. Even the sinners in Yisrael are as full of mitzvahs as a pomegranate. And then he gathered his strength to do what he needed to do as the patriarch. Vayagesh oisam elov, he drew them near to him. Vayishak lehem, and he kissed them. Vayichabek lehem, and he hugged them. The Degel Machane Ephraim adds a fascinating point. When Yaakov blessed Ephraim and Manasseh, he switched his hands so that his right hand rested on Ephraim, who was the younger brother. There is a strong lesson that can be learned from this incident. The name Manasseh was chosen by Yosef to imply Ki nashani Elokim, which is an expression of forgetting Hashem. The name Ephraim, on the other hand, is an expression of being fruitful and multiplying, Para'ureveh, indicating that the people are full of mitzvahs despite all their other shortcomings. The lesson to us is that despite the fact that Manasseh was the oldest, meaning that the negative side was dominant, the tzaddik must judge the sinners favorably and focus on their positive side. Their bad actions do not define their essence. They may be sinning, but they are not sinners.